I think I could remote class.
Yes. There we go.
It's the only area that I know.
Did you?
Yeah.
And that's. Yeah, there's, and that's something that I do. Work together. Yeah. I can only imagine, like.
This is what I go I will certainly ask.
I have subsequent.
Hello, welcome everybody. A little empty today.
Yes.
Hey, Michaela, a little South River. You know, like every other thing. Like, you know, I mean, there you go. Yeah.
The one that, yeah. Yeah, I would like to deal with that. And honestly, I'm okay with it.
Good afternoon. Everybody can go ahead and find their seats. We appreciate everybody's consideration. It is that time in November where a lot is happening, and so we appreciate your flexibility with the elevators and getting our name placards out and all. We're just so excited to have you and our guests here. And at 4 after 3, I will call this meeting to order. Welcome to all who were here, and as a reminder to our guests and those online, per our bylaws, only staff senators who are present in person are allowed to speak during our staff general body sessions. As our opening agenda, we're going to begin with our staff senate purpose. Please remember that we are here to facilitate communication, engage staff, explore solutions, promote a positive campus climate, participate in service work, also support programs as well as propose those that would help staff. And this is not a vehicle to introduce individual issues, but look at the collective, finding a voice for everyone and positive solutions. I'll continue with our opening agenda with our roll call. Secretary Taylor, have you called the roll? We have, and as we can, so we will have it done momentarily. Perfect. And Parliamentarian McCormick, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we have.
Awesome. So next up is approval of the minutes. Jessica Mackey sent the minutes from October to everyone. All of you should have received those via email. Are there any additions or revisions from last month's meeting minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve? All right, Senator Daughter. Thank you. Is there a second? All right, Senator Burns, thank you so much. All those in favor of approval of October's minutes, say aye. Anybody opposed? Awesome. Next, we'll continue on with our meeting agenda, which will have staff senate officer reports, our guest speakers, committee reports, announcements, good of the order, and adjournment. Starting first with my report, I want to share some information with you. Hopefully all of you have noticed in your email that the Parking Services Master Mobility Plan is in play. All of you should have gotten the survey where they are seeking your input and the input of all faculty, staff, and students about parking. The consultant group met with focus groups last week to gain some face-to-face input, and now they need everyone's input, whether you're able to participate in those focus groups or not. So I encourage you. It went out on November the 6th. We'll hear a little bit more about that from our wonderful speakers, but please make sure that you engage in this opportunity to have your voice heard about your thoughts of parking on campus. Would also let you know that in your stead, I attended the October 24th Board of Trustees meeting. Again, just so my face could be there representing staff, reminding our leaders on campus, both Board of Trustees and executive leadership, that we are still present and want to be informed about what's going on. So it was a great meeting and time to be there and interact. I also wanted to mention about the Modern Think Employee Insight Survey. For those of you who were not able to attend the town hall in person, that recording is up on the HR website. Please make sure you can go back and watch that, where the person from Modern Think, the consultant, went through the data. It's a lot of data, really, really fast, but it is very, very interesting and rich, full of how faculty and staff feel about the climate on campus. So I really encourage you to do that and recommend that your constituents do so as well. I'm sure HR Vice President Agardy may mention that in her remarks. But I also wanted to let you know that as units are disseminating that information that is germane to their unit and making plans to act on that data, the university is doing the same. And I will serve as the Staff Senate representative on the Presidential Commission on Employee Insights, where we've been charged with reviewing the Employee Insight Survey results and making recommendations for university level action planning and top priorities for the institution. Our initial meeting is Monday, November the 17th, with a target deadline for submitting recommendations to university leadership around February, March of 26, and a final announcement April 26. So what I'm warranted and allowed to bring back to you, I will, but I feel great that we have representation from not only myself and another staff member on this presidential committee to look and see how these this data will be used to inform the institution as a whole. Just wanted to remind you of some upcoming Staff Senate General Body speakers. Next month, we have University Architect Derek Bruner. So if you want to know about what's happening on campus with buildings and what may be happening in the future, please look forward to the University Architect coming as he will share that information, as well as USC Alumni Chief Experience Officer Jared Evans will be with us. January, Director of Employee Wellbeing Emily Cato and Executive Director of Community Engagement Dr. Teresa Harrison will be here. And then in February, we hope to have President Amaritas here. So things to look forward to. If you have someone that you think the general body might learn from and enjoy hearing from, please let any one of us on the executive committee know, and we can see if we can make that happen. Opportunities. I'm not going to steal a lot of the thunder of our wonderful Staff Senate Scholarship and Fundraising Committee, but they have been working hard to organize a cornhole tournament. And so we hope that all of you will participate in one form or another. And the easiest way to participate is to let the word out, to get the word out so everyone knows. It was in a USC Today update, just so everyone knows about this opportunity. And I think it will be a lot of fun, and it's free for anyone to attend, whether you're going to play cornhole or not. I also want to remind you that the Community Projects Committee, which they'll mention a little bit later too, is always at work, lots of opportunities. I'm sporting my Cocky's Reading Express t-shirt because I got to go and read this week, Monday, at Burnside Elementary School. I used my lunch hour, only went for that one time period, which worked out really, really well. I know it's early in the morning, but if you have an opportunity to engage in some of the activities that the Community Projects group comes up with, please do so. For November and December, they're going to talk about the sheet in front of you a little later, but then there's also opportunities at the community shop. So please engage as you can. Go with some of your constituents. It's not just for staff senators. Any way that you feel like you might want to give back, please do so. My first celebration today is honor a Veterans Day. And what I'd like is if you are a member of our Staff Senate General Body and you served in our armed forces, would you stand to be recognized so that we can applaud you? Anybody? You served? Well, then let's just applaud veterans in general. As today is the day where we thank those who have served and continue to serve for all of us. Also want to thank everyone in Staff Senate and your role in the Food Fight Victory for the community shop. Since Jennifer was able to come from the community shop and let us know, they raised lots of food and money for the community shop. We beat LSU, which is even better, but they are now not fully stocked, but more stocked than they were. And we really appreciate everybody in Staff Senate who was a part to help push that, not only in your units, but with others. Also want to celebrate those of you who helped with the Stuff the Bus. This is me actually helping stuff the bus with our colleagues, with our student body. They actually went a step further with helping the community shop by doing this again. So again, thank you if you had an opportunity to help with that. Also want to thank those of you who have participated in the Staff Senate Senator Focus Group meetings, especially if you have a large constituency. The executive committee and I appreciate your time as we're looking for best practice for those of you who represent large numbers of individuals, of staff across our campus, especially that may be geographically in different areas. And so thank you for giving us that. We're compiling that, making those best practices. And those of you who still have yet to have your focus group, thank you so much for doing that. Also want to congratulate Dr. Brian Favela, who was the recipient of the National Parking Association's 2025 Best in Parking Award. So before he comes up, congratulations. That is awesome, showing that the innovation that we are bringing to our campus as we also celebrate the growth of our campus. Also wanted to give a new feature or provide a new feature, and that's a staff senator shout out, where we provide recognition to a staff member or senators who go above and beyond to support staff in USC. You can send any kind of shout out recommendation to anyone on the Staff Senate Executive Committee. And the first one I received was to shout out Alexis Watts. Alexis, stand up. Yeah. It was sent to me without any sort of coercion that she has been champion of the community shop, created the entire marketing plan for the USC LSU Food Fight campaign, created a live donation board, an email campaign that went out to everybody. And so she is part of the oomph behind how successful we were in that earlier slide. So Alexis, thank you so much. You were awesome. So if you know somebody who might deserve a shout out, let us know and we will do that. Because again, we want to celebrate all that we can on our campus. Speaking of, we have the new Staff Senate Appreciation Station down here. There are those cards. Please use them so that you can let somebody know if they are garnet and great, somebody in your unit who you want to show thanks to in a card form, handwritten. We also, of course, always have the HR Cocky cards that you can send somebody electronically. But if you want to do that handwritten note, please take some on your way out. I can tell you that individuals love to be recognized and take just a moment to write something handwritten, always there. Because we want to continue to connect, empower, and lead. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Amanda Tuck, who's going to give our treasurer's report. And this is something that we're going to bring in each general body meeting just so we can know about our funds. Amanda? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. I know we love money. Money's fun. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit look of where we are, where we're going. So again, we have our 3 accounts, same that we always have. In our A funds, we do have that big rollover balance, but remember, we do want to keep some of that in the case of emergency. We want to make sure that we have 3 months of payroll in there. So we have our expected expenses that we had at the beginning of the year, where we did our trend report to see what we were planning on spending. So we have spent Airmark name tags and the Garnet and Great cards out of our A funds so far. So for our ending expected right now, we have balance of 4,220. In our N funds, we did get our Staff Appreciation Day funds. And we have money in there. We did. So yay, we have money. For our foundations funds, we started with that same amount that we had last time. We have a $230 check that I am going to receive so that we can pay for the field rental for the cornhole tournament. And so that's everything happening in there. And this is not a whole lot, but just kind of as a reminder, normally we have most of our expenditures towards the end of the year, so we'll pick up around then, but we want to keep you guys informed. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, or jokes, send me an email.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. It is now my pleasure. It is now my pleasure to welcome our first guest speaker today. Many of you can remember her from our orientation. She is an ex officio of Staff Senate and a great friend of Staff Senate. Please welcome Vice President for Human Resources, Carolina Agardy.
Me today. I'm happy to be here and talk about just a few HR updates. I'm on a tighter schedule than normal when I come here, so I'm going to breeze through these things and hopefully we'll have a couple of questions that I can answer as well. A lot of you have heard about our HR transformation project. We've called it HR Redefined. And with that project, what we're doing is rolling out a new model for our delivery of HR services across the Columbia campus, but also the system campuses. This is called an HR business partner model, and we are rolling out the first phase in January, where we will have a business partner go to, you can see the groups below. The first one is just labeled high visibility group. That's the president's office, it's development, it's research, it's the smaller office like the Office of Civil Rights. You also have marketing and brand collaborative in that group, and we're going to be providing an HRBP to that group as well as the Division of Admin and Finance Phase 1, which consists of parking and transportation and also facilities, the postal services, as well as law enforcement. Another group is the business school and HRSM, pharmacy and public health, and USC Beaufort. We are in also contact with another group that is dying to be in first round, and I'm talking to them later this afternoon to see if they're going to be able to we're going to be able to come to terms with allowing them to jump into this group. But what we are planning and doing is rolling out this first group and then having a phased approach so that we can ensure success with the first group. And you're probably thinking, what in the world are you doing? Well, these HRBPs will help the business units with more HR strategy to make it a place that USC faculty, staff want to work. Here are some of the goals that we, here, well, they cut out my slide. Okay, well, some of the goals was ensuring that we're attracting a faculty, the talented faculty and staff that we need to run the university, to ensure the employee experience can be the best it can be. We saw with, as Chris alluded to, the engagement survey that Modern Think did, there's some areas of improvement that we all want to make, and the HRBPs will help us do this. We also want to have innovative and forward-thinking HR practices. A lot of the focus of our HR office has to be on compliance, because if you're not compliant, you get fined for those things. Employees are not treated fairly if you're not compliant, because we have all kinds of state regulations, federal laws, state laws that deal with employment. And so we've got to make sure we're in compliance with that. But our focus needs to also be on the strategy of HR to ensure that we're hiring the right people and putting them in the right seats, and that they're the kind of colleagues that we all want. And so that when we come to work, we're being collaborative, we're reaching across lines to ensure that we're looking at innovation and looking at business processes to ensure that everybody is doing their work as efficiently as possible, but also, again, doing the right things that we need to do for this university. So the business partner model will really help us do that. So the timeframes, as you see now, is We will roll out the first phase in January of this year. And we're really excited of that. We've gone and met with the various leaders of those groups. We've met with the HR folks within those units, and they will be staying there. The current HR people in these areas will definitely be still providing the kind of services they do now. We just want to add another layer of strategy there, and also ensure that the HR folks who are in the jobs now are aligned with where we're going, and ensure that those things are done as sufficiently as possible. I see one of our staff members here today that is a trainer and works on our service team. And a lot of the times we get things that come into our unit that have to be turned around for rework. And so what we're trying to do again is ensure everybody who is touching, whether it's a process or in most of our forms or electronic forms, know what they're doing. They operate within the regulations and the guidelines we have, the policies we have at USC, and so that things are done right the first time. And so I think it'll be a great collaborative effort. There will be a career path for a lot of our HR people that feel like they're kind of stuck in their jobs now. So there'll be levels that they can move up and grow to be one of these HR business partners. As a matter of fact, we were able to hire one person who was internal to USC. And then we have some folks coming from outside. We have 3 people starting actually Monday. And then our HR VP in Beaufort is going to start on January 1. One of the HR VPs actually was the chief of staff of Boeing. So we're getting high caliber people. And when we did the second interviews where we had those customers that they were going to be serving, whether it was an assistant dean, associate dean, or a dean in these interviews, what they said to us was, wow, now I see what you're trying to do, because how they answer the questions made a world of difference in terms of the services that we're going to be receiving that are, again, at a more strategic level. And so that's one of our initiatives that we're really excited about, because what's happened invariably over the years is we're centralized HR, and then we have all these decentralized people out there, and some of them are so good and they're so helpful to employees and they're very, very knowledgeable. Others of them may have fallen into HR. Maybe they were an admin to a leader in their area, and they were very good at what they did tactically, but they don't know all that HR can do. And so they may not know red flags of HR. When somebody has FMLA that they need to take, they might not know, well, while they're on FMLA, you can't take money away, you can't demote someone, you can't do a lot of things because there are laws around that. So all we're trying to do is make sure that you all as employees and your colleagues have the very best services you can possibly have with HR. The other thing we're working on in our division is a realignment of higher education, our market pay structure for USC, with other higher education institutions in South Carolina. The state of South Carolina recently did a market pay structure and implemented that in July. So we're going to align within their new market pay structure. But what that means for us is that USC pay structure will still be what it is today, but with some changes to the market ranges so that the compensation that we're offering within the market ranges are going to be aligned with the current market. When we did the pay market structure in 2023, the market was different than it is now. And so some jobs have increased in the market, and then some jobs have stayed the same in the market. So we're just going to adjust our ranges, and we'll have, I think it's 27 ranges that we will have in the new structure, but that will be rolled out in February, and we're just working through that right now. Your HR contacts will be getting information about that, and we'll provide more information to you. But there will be some wider ranges on the higher levels. So after the first, I think 5 ranges, then we'll get wider levels, because sometimes the scope of those jobs are so great that you've got to ensure you can pay talent when we bring in talent at the organization. So that, I think, will help our pay structure. In addition, I was asked to give some turnover data about telecommuting, and I thought as a context for that, I would just tell you what our turnover data looks like on the Columbia campus for faculty and staff. You can see the 5-year average for staff was 14.10. And then for this past year, we were at 12.75. We jumped a little bit this past year in 2025. It maybe increased about 3/4 of a point. And then when you look at the average years of service, again, this is just how much our staff have right now in terms of years of service. But if you're, bypass this one because it really kind of repeats what was said there in terms of unclassified and classified. We have more turnover in unclassified staff than we do in classified staff. And so you can see those numbers, but it is a lower in unclassified staff. Classified staff. You have a lower turnover than if you look at the combined on the previous slide. But then the next slide was what I was really asked to talk about, and it was about the telecommuting. So in the first 2 quarters of this year, our employees who completed our exit survey, we had 23 of them that cited telecommuting remote work as one of the reasons they left. Only one of those employees said that was their primary reason for leaving though. But of all the employees that left, it was 9% that said it was telecommuting, the reason for them leaving. Let's see, and then for the 3rd quarter, it jumped up. That's when we implemented the return to campus program, and again we did have 18% turnover in the 3rd quarter of this year. So 7 employees of that group said that was their primary reason for leaving. Right now, we're only getting turnover data about telecommuting when somebody completes an exit interview, not when they leave the university. When they leave the university, we have to use the state codes for that. And so this data isn't the best data in the world, but it tells you out of the ones who completed the exit interviews, this is how many, what percent left. And I thought that might be helpful to you all. And then finally, I wanted to talk just briefly about communications. This is one area we continue to work on in HR in terms of ensuring employees are getting what they need. We've had not a lot of success in getting out messages directly to employees. And we're going to do some focus groups with this group and some other employees this year to find out how you want to get information. Right now, we do not have an employee newsletter. We work and partner with communications, and they certainly do the USC Today every Monday, and they try to include something for faculty and staff on Mondays. And when HR wants to put something out, we put it out in that newsletter. We also communicate to our HR contacts, but we sometimes don't have those messages that go out to the employees in the units. So just recently we started, when we send a memo out to the HR contacts, we also then get a accompanying memo that they could then customize, tailor a little bit, and send on to the employees in the area. Some of them do a great job with that again. And then other times we hear that employees in their divisions or in their colleges didn't know something happened that they really needed to know. So now we're going to do some of that work for them to ensure that they can take that memo that's addressed to the employees and then make it their own and get out the information directly to the employees. So those are the kinds of things we're trying to do within HR. And as Chris also said, with the Modern Think survey, that's the meeting I'm having to go to with DAF right now. But one of the things we're trying to do there is ensure that those committees that are formed are going to address some of the things that have been identified in that survey, to include things like communication, things like performance management was one that was really low. So we want to make sure we're aligning our performance management system with those university goals, and then ensuring all of that is communicated all the way to the employees who are at the very doing the work every day that we see getting on the elevator. Just now, you see employees who are actually making sure this place works well, and you want to make sure they know how they're contributing to the overall mission of the University of South Carolina through performance management. So without further ado, I will just, if you have a question or two, I'll be happy to answer.
Question for everyone?
Thank you.
All right, please join me in thanking. Thank you as always, and just, you may not know, Caroline and Cammie and I meet once a month to talk about just things that are happening, staff centric, and so we really appreciate her input and her willingness to engage with us with all things HR in our campus. Next, it is my pleasure to bring up someone who is also a friend of Staff Senate. And before I do that, thank you all for contributing questions between questions you may have had and your constituents that are going to help guide our Director of Parking and Transportation, Dr. Favela, who's going to talk about those and then hopefully answer any questions that you may have. I'll turn it over to you.
So good afternoon, everybody. I know it's the last thing you want to talk about on the end of the day on a Tuesday, but the goal of the our discussion today is to really talk about kind of some of the questions that I received and really kind of give you a quick overview of where we're at with the master, what we're doing with the master mobility plan. And so hopefully I've addressed all that and I left some time for some questions. Can you all hear me? All right, so the purpose of today's discussion is one, to talk about your concerns. The other is to really talk about the master mobility plan. And also to really kind of what the master mobility plan's goals are. When I wrote the master mobility plan, it was very experience centered, which means that that's why we had focus groups, 16 focus groups all last week. Additionally, is why we sent out a survey, because we want to know what your experience is. So we're able to craft a program that benefits a majority of the experiences. We're not going to make everybody happy in what we decide, but the majority of the experience is the aim. So the overview, so the comprehensive mobility scope is really kind of focusing on parking management, transit systems, pedestrian access, and future campus growth considerations. Then we're looking at creating more parking options that, so we call it a strategic pricing option. So not necessarily raising prices, but figuring out what's the most affordable solution. So if you don't want to buy an annual permit, could you buy a daily permit and then make choice? So we're creating more choice in this. And then really it's kind of a phased approach. I think it's important to know that we know that the campus master plan, which is called USC Next, is actually happening, right? We are seeing that happen every day in our lives. And very small elements of transportation and parking are in that plan. And so now it's our turn to figure out what parking and transportation looks like as we continue to grow with the plan. And then two, what does the plan look like when construction's happening? We got to be able to move the chess pieces so we can tactically not impact the majority of your experience. So parking locations and balance, we're looking at parking space availability. What does that look like? How do we balance it between faculty, staff, and students? Again, the master mobility plan includes a detailed inventory of our parking, and then how do we optimize that parking? So essentially, I'll use this as an example. Pendleton Street Garage is 100% sold out, but 50% utilized. So how do we use that garage smart? And so that's how we're looking at this. The intention of the scope of this project is not to build more parking, but how to use our parking smart. And then through a collaborative, which we have reached out to focus groups and surveys, we want to continue to engage our community and focus on the dense areas where the worst experiences are happening. I didn't build 737, but at the same time, we're having some density issues out there, right? As we continue to grow Greek life, and as we continue to add more people in that area with the new off-campus housing, and then you have an event going on, it has reached its capacity. So how do we figure that out? And we know that's a bad experience, and so we're addressing that. And then we also want to create an equitable system, which gets me back to the balance. What does it look like for faculty, staff, and students? I have to look at it a much broader and not specifically to staff or faculty or students. I have to look at it as a whole. So again, that last sentence, if you noticed, it said where parking experiences are equal. So if we're gonna piss everybody off, we're gonna make sure that we piss everybody off, right? And so we want to be really equitable about how we go about that. Now, that's not my goal, but at the same time, we're really trying to make sure that we impact your experience in a positive manner. So transit systems and shuttle reliability, we know there's a big opportunity there, particularly with Comet and headways. And so if transit is unreliable, people are not going to get on the buses. In order for this campus master mobility plan to work, we have to rely very heavily on transit. So we're really focusing on the reliability in this plan. And then additionally, we're evaluating the entire system between our systems, which is on demand, night service shuttle, mostly for students, paratransit, and how does that look? And then how does Comet systems look, which we call fixed routes. And so we really are taking a deep dive into the entire system and how it looks, and maybe we can create some synergies and create some better headways and times to get people on buses. And then also, or we can continue to focus on our partnership with Comet today. They are a very good partner today. They have a new general manager who got here around the same time I did 2 years ago. And we have grown our relationship, and they're definitely committed to improving the service they offer. They are even additionally willing to look at adding more buses to the routes. We're really evaluating that, but we want to get it planned before we do it. And then some key service improvements. We're really focusing on route optimization, improving our real-time tracking. We've already made some improvements with that. We put new equipment on all the buses, so our students are having a different experience as far as headways and when they can see it in their app. And then we really want to focus on sustainability and connectivity goals, really get people on transit, enhance campus connectivity. Have you all seen our zip cars? So these are called car sharing. And so you can rent the car by the hour, which mostly our students do right now, but departments can do it too. So if you don't want to essentially lease a vehicle from us in a different way, your department can lease it by the hour if you just need to go somewhere, if you need a department vehicle. But also this is one of our, it's called the transportation demand management strategy. I got 10 zip cars here. And if that can impact freshmen bringing their vehicles here by 10%, I just freed up 1,700 spaces. And so that is my goal, is to approach it differently, not put freshman restrictions in, get them to make different decisions in coming here. You bet your life, at orientation this summer, I will be in front of every single mom and dad saying, don't let your kid bring the car. We can get them around on good transit, and they can rent the car by the hour, and they can get around in walkable spaces. So that's how we're going to sell it. Just 10%, we don't have to build a garage, right? 1,700 spaces. That's how we're looking at it. So we're going to put in more transportation demand strategies, which we have already deployed. Additionally, we're about to close out on and get into negotiations with ride sharing. So we are looking at programs that leverage off of Uber and Lyft. And so we don't know who the selected contractor is going to be between the two companies, but if I can improve that connectivity with our students, that's less that will bring a vehicle here. So ride sharing is also key to this. And so I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
On your way out, is the note right in front of Capstone, the first 2 spots are zip car spots, if you want to see what they look like, because they're right there.
And registration is free for this entire year. They waived the registration fee, which is $25. So it's good. All right, accessibility and safety. One of the biggest things that is coming out of the focus group, which somewhat surprised me, was that everybody in the room could agree that safety is a big issue here on campus when we're walking. And so for me, it made my heart full of joy, because I'm hearing people want to walk, but they don't feel safe that they can't, right? Because intersections are different. So if that's an easier issue for me to address than building an $80 million garage, right? And so additionally, it's good to hear that the community wants to walk, so we can leverage off some spaces in our fringe areas, the outskirts of the parking areas. So it opened up a different playing field for us in those focus group meetings. And then I learned that convenience has a different definition for many people. So people prefer convenience over cost, a majority of the group. So, but for me, convenience is defined as being able to park in front of my front door and then walk into my office. For other people, convenience is time. And so how long does it take me if I park here? How long does it take me to walk? How long does it take in traffic to drive from X to Y to park and then walk to my office? So there was a whole lot of things that we're looking at as far as convenience. We are really kind of, so again, the safety, we're looking at better lighting in the lots. They're doing an assessment on that. We're looking at potential more code blue phones. I mean, I don't know when the last time a code blue phone was touched, but I'm a big believer in them. And here's why, because those campuses that have code blue phones on campus have a 30% less crime rate than the other campus that does not. That's massive. So we're really kind of looking at that. So giving it more optic, but also making it available. And then really focusing on the walkability of campus. That's the key to us here at USC, is how do we make these connectivity points where students, faculty, and staff can walk. So I can tell you, Chris came to one of the focus groups, got caught up in a bad walking path, and it was pretty bad. And he literally walked a mile in people's shoes, and because he tried to cross over, I believe, Blossom Garage, with no side, Blossom Bridge, no sidewalks on Blossom Bridge. So he had to double back, go over Green, and then come down. So it was just interesting. So that's the experience our communities have. Even the president here did it. So permit allocation and lot management. So we're going to have to look at how we balance the permits. We're going to have to start capping out some others and add some others. So it's going to have to be something that's ebb and flows that we monitor. We're kind of doing it now, but we have some good information this year and better data this year that will help us make better decisions and balancing out the permits and spaces. We're looking to optimize our spaces. So I could tell you, I don't know what it's going to look like, but what parking lots look like today are not going to what it's going to look like after we put the plan into motion. Just being upfront about that. But at the same time, we're worrying about experience. We're worrying about a lot of things. And so we'll be very thoughtful about how this is implemented, and we will definitely communicate.
Ooh.
The oversized vehicles is creating a big problem on campus. So we're looking at that. Maybe we have just an oversized vehicle. I drive a big truck, 2500 Dodge Ram. It is hard to park. So, and I'm very conscious about parking nose in, but at the same time, it's a hard fit. And I really wish the space was a little bit wider. And then, so but that's our student. But for me, I will back up until I get between the white lines because I'm the parking director, right? But at the same time, our students won't. They'll take up 2 spaces. But we really are trying to figure out how that looks because that has an optimization of 5% for us on campus. And then enhanced enforcement. I know it's the dark side of parking and transportation, but it is a necessary operation where we have to go out and write people for citations for not having a permit or not doing things. I will tell you, my son went to university in Texas. This is my middle son. His senior year, his permit costed $1,200 for the year, right? And he said, Dad, please just give me the money, put it in my bank account, and I'll go buy the permit. I'm like, sure, no problem, you prove. Well, you know what this kid did? He parked wherever he wanted on campus. And every time he got a ticket, he wrote a check from that bank account and paid the citation. He ended up netting some money, but also he created some problems for others if he was in a reserve space and things like that. And so I couldn't punish him because he's an adult, but it was funny, but I like to share that story. So we have to improve we right now currently engage the Darla Business More School, and the students are really looking under the hood for our compliance and enforcement program. And today they just pitched an amazing kind of change of pace for how they're going to look at enforcement and how it's going to be more equitable. Yes, some of our compliance people walk around and pick low dangling fruit. Meanwhile, something's not getting the attention that it should, and it's not equitable. So I look at compliance as a behavior modification program, not really kind of a revenue stream. I want to change behaviors. That way we have a very compliant parking system. And then communication. I think you've all seen the numerous amounts of communication that's been improved over the 2 years. At least I hope you have. And then, so we're really going to continue to focus on that, use more email alerts. We are starting to get a little bit more leash on how we communicate with the community. And then we also have the app, so make sure you download the app. We're starting to communicate more out through push notifications. And then we're really just met with the Office of Communications today. How can we improve our overall lot signage and things like that? That way we can better communicate and through that way. Event parking. This is really a sticking point for many people. When an event is going on, it really creates a lot of problems, particularly around the Colonial Life arena. And so we're really kind of looking at that. We're going to communicate problem areas, what days. Like today, I don't know how it happened by the grace of God, but FSL was having a masquerade tonight. And we also have Clemson coming in playing the women's basketball team. We didn't, and so, Greek Life uses 737 for their events. We didn't know how that was going to work. And then just sure enough, Amy caught it on social media, event canceled. And so that took away the problem, but we didn't have all the information. We're starting to learn where that information learns, and we're starting to put it in an epicenter. We actually talk about events every single day in our morning huddle. What's going on? That way we make sure we didn't miss things like that. So we're internally, our communication is greatly improved, but at the same time, we hope that we can impact the events for most. One of the big things is that we're focusing on is we're not trying to improve our biggest customer base, and that's our student body, that's our faculty and staff during events. So we're working as hard as we can to save spaces and lots during events. So if a graduate student wanted to park in their lot and they have a parking permit to park in that lot, we let them come in. We don't ask them for the event rate anymore. And so we're really looking at things to improve experiences for that, because graduate students work crazy hours and they need to come in and do their research, and we're trying to be respectful of that. So we have over $13 million in deferred maintenance in just our garages alone, and we're right now tallying that up for our surface lots. So we're really focusing on addressing that. You'll start seeing surface lots get slowly addressed, and then we're coming up with the financial. We have secured a loan, but I don't know if I want to take all that money. So we're trying to figure out what's the best bang for our buck to start fixing our garages and get them addressed. They need help, especially Blossom Street Garage. And so we're looking at what that can do to extend its life. It's a 60-year-old garage that's been neglected for the last 10 years. And so that's not good for a 60-year-old garage, but we're going to do it. We're looking at possibly where we're going to put EV charging stations strategically on campus. If you know, Scout Motors is opening up here up the road. Eventually, we're going to start seeing more electrical vehicles because local people are going to want to buy local cars. And so we got to find a place where those are going to have to be plugged in. Additionally, electric vehicles in Columbia area, when you look at the zip code studies, it is vastly growing. So people are going to start to expect to be able to fuel their vehicles here, but there's going to be a charge, of course. But at the same time, we're looking at how that looks. So we are exploring what's the best way to do that. And then additionally, we're coming up with a very proactive maintenance plan where we are really looking at how to keep our garages lasting longer instead of just addressing the problem. So we're trying to whittle down the deferred maintenance piece in order just to get to a maintenance program where it's maybe $500,000 instead of $13 million. So we're working on addressing it. And then we're working, obviously, we're working on to enhancing the safety through that as well. And that which is, that aligns with the campus master plan safety elements. So transparency, I'm here, right? So I'm being totally transparent with you all, kind of the way we're thinking. And so I'm very committed to that, very committed to this community. We're going to continue to talk about it. I'm going to continue to show up. I will never say no if someone asks me to show up and talk to you all. And then obviously I am a very big feedback guy and very customer centered, which means that your feedback is paramount to how we craft our decisions. And then I encourage you to participate, i.e. take the survey. Your feedback matters. I will absolutely take a look at it. I think we're up to like 4,000 respondents now, which is massive for what we sent out. And so it's a good response rate. We're keeping it open for 2 more weeks. You might see another email reminder to get a couple more in, but people are engaged in it and we're getting good feedback and we appreciate it. And then so at this time, questions, and there's my email address. And Blast away.
Any questions?
You're joking. Go ahead. Thank you.
I'm not sure if it pertains, but is there something being done? Are you looking at the intersection of College and Assembly?
Oh, absolutely. That was the number one area.
Okay.
Well, we had the focus groups, people come up with stars and put what they believed was dangerous intersections. That was the number one.
You know, if you're looking into, they did this recently in front of, where the Bursar's office is, where there's a point in time where only if walkers, you know, they're only pedestrians go.
That's Sumter and Assembly, right?
I think
That's
it's
all
Blossom
good.
and Sumter.
Yep.
Yes.
Blossom, sorry. It is. So the city did that without talking to us, so we like it. And so we like to see how it applies elsewhere. So while we're identifying areas that are for risk for our entire community, there's a different level of collaboration that we have to. We're going to go to the city and work with them as the plan is identified. In addition, we have to work with the South Carolina Department of Transportation too, because the city doesn't own all the streets. SDOT does too as well. So we're trying to figure out how to get everybody at the table. But we want to go and say, this is identified by our community, give them some substance. So, yes.
University Library. One of my colleagues wanted to know, why don't staff have discount parking rates? Or at least discount rates after so many years of USC service? Employees should not have to pay for park to be able to work to begin with, but at least offer some discounts to us. And they said, thanks, I appreciate all your hard work on our behalf. I think we're talking about you.
Yes, Lori. Well, I appreciate your hard work too as well. So, my job is to enforce policies, right? What the board sets, what we should charge and things like that. That's more of an HR benefit. And I don't mean to put to HR, but that's something that has to go through like a legislative process. Start with Chris over here and figure out how that looks, type up some meaningful legislation and ask HR to do it and then get it in front of the board. If the board says charge $100, I'm going to charge $100, right? And so I have I don't have any influence on that. I wish I did. So, and just as you guys do that, think about it. Like we are an auxiliary unit. We are self-sustaining. So if discounts start to happen, somebody else has to pay for that. So we're trying to be thoughtful of that as well. Go ahead.
So I think this happened after we had submitted questions to you, but in light of it, so where the truck hit the bridge on Whaley, this just kind of made me think of this. So kind of when transportation kind of changes as a result of something like that, can you kind of take us through like the process of like what that looks like on your end, like what the response kind of looks like? Because obviously like the controversy. Oh, I'm sorry. So like that road was completely blocked off and then people had to like reroute and things like that. So I know that the common buses and some of the campus buses travel through there. Like what is kind of communication?
Is this the closure that happened today that you're referencing?
No, it's not the railroad.
The truck is good.
Okay.
I think
I did not know that.
An emergency closure, how do you communicate that to the campus so people know they're.
So my hands are tied in how if the scenario happened like that and I was aware of it, yeah, we would work with the Office of Communications to get a notice out. But emergency information like that would more than likely be pushed through the Park USC app.
Oh.
So that's important to have the app. That's how we get messaging out quickly. I don't think that would rise to the USC PD's tax group. So this would be more of traffic is changing. And we also, for like the road closure that happened today, we also put that on the Transloc app. So people who are using the app to see where the buses are would see that notice.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Kind of the same question from wherever I am at this. We got slammed when the new dorms opened. Everybody kind of came into
Where are you at?
Pleasant Village.
Okay.
Kind of got slammed with a lot. And the thing that we're asking for now is there a method? We sent over emails to the office
We got to get, they giving us back and forth, and then because of this, they slammed everything down for reserve parking. So that we know when we put in the parking deck, no matter how many students don't move their cars for 3 weeks, we will have a parking space. Or are you making the staff a priority? And maybe I filled out a survey, and there was zip car, there was there were all these different modes of transportation, plus walking. I live in Whitewood, can't walk. So what are y'all doing for staff who will be here when these students matriculated for you? And we're still here working.
So everybody's a priority, first of all. And I can't make one group a priority, right? We have to look at everything. But I will tell you, as we optimize the parking structures, what you described is being looked at. So are the reserve spaces in the right place? Are the residents in the right place? So we're looking at the program, not a particular group as a priority. Does that make sense?
Not agreeable, yes.
That's fine. I told you, I'm not gonna make everybody happy. Yes, ma'am.
Looking at garages, and that's like, you may have all of the taxes are purchased, but the usage of the garage, specifically like seasonal, like when we get to December, more than likely, people won't use the garages for certain months. And I know, this was asked maybe last time, but staff had asked that you all looked at like seasonal passes for the garage where people.
You mean like to get a taste of like a good parking experience?
When close to the garage, you may have faculty that park below and they may only be here 9 months. So like in the summer, they're not here. And so if there was an opportunity for staff who are here in the summer, they could purchase a lot space in the summer, like just different opportunities for people to be.
Sure. I could tell you what I did last summer, and then I could tell you what the plan's gonna address. So last summer, which I felt like was an amazing decision, ended up being probably not a good decision. And so we allowed everybody to park pretty much wherever last summer, right? It improved a lot of people's experience, but what it impacted was those who had seniority in some of the lots. So we weren't very tactful about how that would impact 1600 Hampton for kind of those seniority lots. So what we're gonna do is do the same thing, but at the same time, exclude a few areas. As far as the reserve lots, that potentially in the reserve spaces, like in Pendleton Garage and Close Hip, and the faculty is not here. Technically, they paid for it for the year, but we're addressing it. We're trying to get the scope narrowed to 9 months. That's why we charge is for 9 months of the use of the space. The other stuff sits so we can optimize and find some summer programming to go for it. So the short answer to your answer is yes, we'll look at it. We're going to do something different this summer, which excludes, that doesn't create us problems. And then 2, what does that entire look like? Do we come up with a summer permit? Do we have an upgrade type situation going on here? So we're looking at it all. Yes, sir.
There was a question raised about some of the South Carolina state-owned lots that are underutilized. Is there any discussion about us collaborating?
Well, I have definitely tried. I will tell you, I have tried to work with the state. At this point, we have decided that we have to get the governor involved. And so that they do not want to partner with us. So I do have an intern walking around and looking at other open lots. Could I go to the Baptist church or the Presbyterian church and see how I can get them to optimize their parking lot and monetize it Monday through Friday? To me, I think they only need it on a Sunday, right? So we're looking at everything. One, the goal is not to build more parking, but to leverage off what we have at our hands on campus, but also outside of campus. 35% of downtown Columbia is parking. And we drive by empty spaces. The state is going to be a hard nut to crack. I can't even get that lady to call me back. Drives me nuts. So I saw a couple hands over here. Yes, I think you were first.
I've talked to that lady.
Oh, they'll rent. If you call her directly, they'll rent directly to you.
Yeah. She's pretty nice in person, surprisingly. But I will say, I was gonna ask.
You're not married to her, right?
No. Talking about Pendleton, how often are you guys sampling that to find out the data that you're getting for 50%?
I was just using an example, but it's generally like 50 to 75% full. And it's because other faculty that work in there that maybe have class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mean, some of the things we could do is look at space sharing, like we're looking at multiple things, but we have to optimize the garage differently.
Okay, and how are you ensuring that your teams going out and ticketing are making sure that they're hitting all the different lots? I mean, we've got some out there at Hampton and Pickens and like.
Oh, my team is
all that.
not going everywhere. That's the problem. That's why I have Darla Moore working at it.
Okay.
They're going to areas that are,
High volume turnover.
yeah, well, not high volume, but where they potentially can write the most tickets possible. And that's not what we're about.
Right, okay. Yeah, so how do we get those peripheral lots? Ticketed?
It's just a matter of visiting them or not.
Okay, so when I.
To be honest with you,
Yeah, I
we're
get it. So, like,
reprogramming.
when I'm
right.
calling to complain, why are people not coming out and telling me ticketing?
I will not tell my customers. I'm gonna be honest with you all. There's different ways to change that behavior. So a boot, right?
Yeah,
A boot's more visible than a
Right.
non-parent car.
is it possible that they do something in the app that we can be reporting illegal parking?
Yes, actually, in the app, there's a feedback button.
Okay, and we can utilize that for that.
Absolutely. I'm a person who looks at it every day. We don't get any feedback, but because not many people know about it. There's a feedback button. Mr. Fuller.
Yes, Jalen Fuller, Senator for DAF. A lot of my constituents are in the 1600 Hampton building, and a lot of them brought up the fact that the service cars, the police officer units were parked in the lot, in the C lot over there after COVID hit, because they used to be parked in the garage. It took up less space, and now there's less space. Is there any looking into where the service cars are parked? Is that going to be a permanent?
That's one of the scopes in the national building plan, not to be able to address that problem, because we want to be able to go to all departments and figure that out. Because if you, for departments who have all campus permits, we this year allow them to park in state service vehicle spaces. It is now pissing off people who actually drive a state service vehicle. So we're looking at, I'll be honest with you, we're looking at just spaces for state service vehicles and then official business spaces. So for those AC. We want to be able to allow you to traverse around campus in different ways. Yes.
Looking at the future of fleet, we may be going the route of electric, so will there be support for us when we start doing USC fleet vehicles that are electric?
When you say support.
Having charging stations,
Yes.
like out in those locations for us?
Right, but I will tell you, the state of South Carolina, it's not looking at.
No, I know states.
There's not the route they're going. So,
Brian, I think you have one more over Dick Thom.
yes, sir.
Okay, so this is kind of a big question, but it dawned on me on one of your first slides. And it's not even necessarily just for you, but I couldn't help but wonder. So you said early on that like you're trying to look at how to best utilize the spaces and stuff that we have, and everything, without adding in parking. Drives me nuts that the university continues to grow and grow and grow, and parking doesn't. And I realize that we are in a city we're landlocked and things like that. But how do we continue to have record-sized classes and stuff and new departments and new institutes and more faculty and staff members, and we don't look at adding parking? It boggles my
But the intention of the scope is not to initially tell us where to build more parking. The intention is to optimize parking and then go from there, right? So is parking going to be needed down the road and continue to grow the way we are? Absolutely. It's even in the campus master plan and the USC next. We want to optimize what we have now.
No, I get that, and I appreciate that. I just mean like big picture that like I've been here since 1990 as an undergrad student and staff, pretty much, with one small gap. Parking's always been terrible on this campus. I have seen very few parking
Except
areas
right?
added.
She couldn't find parking. She drove around for an hour and a half and missed an event at Russell House. She drove for an hour to get here. It's,
And that's why I said it's not necessarily just a question that's for you. I just don't understand the university's mindset that we can continue.
Well, their light is not there. If you look on the campus master plan, they have identified a few areas in blue boxes where parking could potentially go. But some of those blue boxes, one of them is the old Coliseum. Right. Like that makes no sense if you just want to add more to traffic, right? And so we're being thoughtful about where that could be. I think potentially where more parking could be added is around the Blossom Street garage. And
one of the major issues that I'm having in the building, what I'm hearing them say, is that it's not that we're not, I guess, quote unquote, optimizing. I think it's that when the shift happens, there are no rules to the shift. So we had strict rules before the shift, after the shift, they just.
what are you talking about, the shift?
So like when extra bodies were optimized into the athletic village, parking deck, which is where I am, so that's what I'm talking about. So when all these students were now allowed to just come into the parking deck, right? There used to be strict rules. There was a person at the bottom, people who walk our lot. As soon as they were allowed to come in, there is no rules anymore. So signs have been removed for how to park. The person who sat down at the bottom has been removed, so there's no one walking our parking deck. So we're seeing more issues. So that's what the biggest gripe is coming from that. Is that now it's just, oh, it's a wild, wild west.
Well, that's where we're gonna have to disagree too, right? So it's not. And there's always availability in the space. You just gotta go all the way to the top.
And that's blocked off in their meetings. So now people are part-time, park on dirt and other places.
Those are people who do not have permits on their drives.
What
Yes,
about, like, say, I'm parking in the Full Street garage, and part of that is the visitor parking. And they will put the sign, block full. And they continue to let people go in, and you're talking about the oversized trucks, and that garage is one way in, one way out. You sit in there for 30 to 40 minutes. Because there's only one exit,
And this is in
and
the
they're
visitor
still
section.
letting people in when they know that there are no spaces.
This is in the visitor section.
Yes. That's where my coworker went and couldn't find the spot. They let her in. She had to turn around and leave, but had to wait in line to get out. Plus, that pay to leave right there, it's not advertised. Every day, there is a traffic jam because somebody pulls down to get out and they haven't gone to the window to pay. Everybody behind them has to back up. That one car has to find a place to park right there, get out, go pay. It's a mess. That garage.
Well, it's definitely an opportunity, so thank you.
To be looked at. I know they did the area over where I park with the green and red lights where spaces are open and things like that. And I think that has the digital sign out, the count on it, but that's the badge access part. But that visitor side.
The visitor site also has the numbers, and also the visitor site also is in the Park USC app.
We've got time for, I think Senator Luther had your hand up, and then we're gonna need to move on. Thank you.
Future construction at, Woodlawn and the Sciences Building.
Okay.
What's the plan when that parking gets eliminated, and why wasn't
In D2?
subterranean parking considered as a part of those building plans?
That I don't know why they didn't decide to go below grade, other than I'm gonna make some assumptions here because of cost. When you go below grade, it's $100,000 of parking space. So do the math if you want to add 1,000 spaces. So it's quite expensive. Also, you're gonna have to move some water because we're almost at water level when we start going below. So it does require a lot of work to do that. So I don't know why they planned that or didn't do that. I will tell you one of the areas identified for parking is in the area. Is it next to Burns or Vines or? We're gonna rip that building down and possibly put a parking project.
All right, please join me in thanking, and again, the answers may not be exactly what everybody wants to hear, but we appreciate the dialogue. And again, I encourage all of you and your constituents, fill out that survey, make sure that your thoughts are known, so your voice can be heard that way, or email your concerns directly. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
We're going to now move quickly into our reports of committees, because I know that there are at least two committees who really want to share information about their upcoming events. And so we will do that, starting first very quickly with membership.
Hello, Katie Enon with the membership committee. Just a couple of quick updates. Thank you guys for filling out the survey. We're looking at that data very carefully, trying to figure out if we want to make any changes to our representation. And this past week, we met with Mike Dial from the University Advising Center. And we talked about what it might look like if the academic advisors are represented by the college or school that they live in, so to speak, versus the provost's office. Just a conversation about what the advisors are experiencing where they are located at this time. So that conversation is ongoing. And also next week for our committee meeting, we are having some executive members from the University of Kentucky Staff Senate join us. They've been in existence for a long time, and so we hope to glean some information and ask them some questions about their membership and maybe some experiences that they've had.
Awesome. Thank you so much. On communication.
The first part. Michaela, you have the graphic. A couple of quick things for us. We did have Staff Appreciation Day committee co-chairs, Senator Shelton and Senator White, join our last meeting. We discussed just kind of early communications around Staff Appreciation Day. So I think we'll have some more out on that very soon. The next thing, we kind of mentioned it at the last meeting, but we've developed some digital display graphics that we're going to share with digital signage contacts from across campus. They're very just kind of basic information, but we thought this may be a good way to get more people just in the know and maybe joining the committee meetings. We'll send these out to you. There is a Teams channel that is for digital signage contacts across campus as well, so we'll get it in there.
And the last thing is just, please check your inbox for an email from me if you don't have a photo on the Staff Senate webpage yet. When I started going over this really comprehensively about 2 months ago, we had like 25 missing and we're down to 8. So we're making great progress. Also I in my most recent email to the few last people, I also included the link on how to sign up for a new headshot if you want to get one through our office. Because the main sort of central office of communications offers a chance for mug shots or headshots every once a month. So there you go.
Thanks. Awesome. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I should have called them mug shots.
Okay, so from our last meeting, I do have homework I need to send to Chris. I apologize. We're putting together that comprehensive reference list of policies that affect staff members, and also just kind of a brief explainer of what a policy is here at the university and getting involved with providing your own feedback when those are being reviewed.
We're still staying on top of Bright Horizons and our relationship with them. We're working with Tasha Harrington Harrison over there. Unfortunately, it's taking a little bit longer to kind of get a formal discussion going with them, as they have to get kind of their regional directors involved as well. So just staying on top of communications with them. So hopefully they can come to a future meeting. And then kind of tackling a little bit further into kind of like the one-stop shop kind of mentality. Lydia was also working on that with kind of trying to look at doing like a centralized one website to kind of combine the two areas that have information pertaining to like well-being and things like that for staff. So she's working with some folks on communications with that, as well as addressing a water issue that came up in 1600 Hampton Street. So putting out a survey on that front so that the water is a bit more drinkable. So we're looking into that a little bit more. We did change our next meeting. So we're normally the 4th Tuesday of each month. With the holidays this month and next month, we're going to do the 3rd Tuesday. So our next meeting is next week on the 18th at 3 p.m. So please note that change.
Awesome. Professional development.
too many emails. Hey, y'all, good afternoon, Jalen, Professional Development Committee. We have some kind of exciting updates this time for you. We were able to talk and meet, and we kind of really honed in on our purpose, and we have actually updated our bylaws to now be the following. The Professional Development Committee will collaborate with partners across the university to strengthen and expand professional development opportunities through employee training, workshops, and academic and career experiences. The committee will advocate for accessible and inclusive professional development for all staff and will encourage ongoing conversations around upward mobility, career growth, and advanced education with the goal of enhancing the overall staff experience. So really broadening our horizon and really allowing us to do a lot more than we have been doing. So really excited about that. We also all got a chance, well, most of us got a chance to attend that Modern Think survey results webinar that they had, and we identified some potential areas. We've been working with the executive committee to maybe work with HR to kind of get some transparency, things like that going. We're also planning to reach out to those areas that weren't really captured in that survey and to figure out where the Modern Think survey may have missed folks so that we're really covering all of our bases here. We also have been in contact with Kim Pruitt of OPD, and they are actually looking for senators and leaders on campus to participate in AI learning circles. So if you are interested in being a part of that, you're interested in being a leader in AI here on campus, teaching your area, your unit, and promoting its usage, please reach out to me and I can get you in contact with some folks who can get you up and running. So that's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. And one side note, Jalen will be sending that bylaw request to bylaws, who will look at it, then send it to executive committee, who will then bring it before the entire body for approval, first read and then approval. So then it will, it's all good. So that will get in the bylaws. So a little sneak peek at what is to come. We appreciate that. Next up, community projects.
First, we just want to say thank you to everyone who came out and volunteered at Cocky's Reading Express Opportunities. Thank you guys, our friends from School of Medicine Columbia and Chris for coming out. Those were great experiences. In December, we wanted to just let you guys know we're going to have a survey sent out to everyone to help us plan spring volunteer events and determine kind of the service opportunities that you all and your constituents are interested in. So more updates to come on that at our next meeting. We also needed to plan one more street cleanup to be part of Keep the Midlands Beautiful, and Dorenzo Thomas is going to lead that. And that is going to be on Wednesday, December 3rd at lunchtime. So we've updated that. We have a sign-up sheet if anyone wants to join on their lunch hour for that. And we also have a sign-up link to help us wrap toys for Salvation Army. That will be the week of December 15th through the 19th. And opportunities to help wrap between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. during that week.
Also, we have other opportunities. We're trying to have opportunities where financially you can give your time, wrappings. We have different opportunities for everyone for whatever may fit your schedule. So this year we're going to do Families Helping Families through Palmetto Project and WIS TV. So you'll see the sheet that was left on your, kind of where your areas are normally. So we adopted 2 families this year. One, a 90-year-old Navy veteran, and then Lori is a mom with 3 girls. And so their needs and their wish lists are on this. And also, I created a Elfster. I don't know what this was until this week, but an Elfster where you can actually scan this QR code. It takes it to the wish list, and I kind of just picked out some stuff, but you don't have to buy it off there. And if you have any extra additional questions about what someone may need, you're more than welcome to email me. I can probably reach out to them, but that's generally, for the most part, the information that they have because they are keeping it kind of anonymous.
And with that, if I may say, is please ask some of your constituents, go in together. You know, if some of other staff members want to help and do and be a part of this, it doesn't mean you have to, whatever the item is, whether it's $15 or $30, or go on with some other people and do that because it really does mean a great deal.
Yes, so one example, Jalen, 8-year-old, she wants a bike, so I kind of looked that up. If we want to come together, we can get her a bike. We won't put it together because they actually have volunteers that put the bikes together, but like just like an archery set for one of them. Like they actually tried to pick out something in their list that would be kind of a group gift if we could do that. And then we're going to wrap all of the presents together on December 10th. So if you could possibly bring anything on our next general body session, that's on December 9th. And then we'll all, whoever wants to help, meet at 1600 Hampton. We'll wrap together. We'll have the old war room, whatever they call it. We'll have cookies and stuff and can wrap the presents. And then we'll take those to the Family Health and Family on the 13th. Then also, don't forget that we have the community shop. So next week is our next committee meeting, and we're actually going to have a committee meeting and volunteer together at the community shop. So we'd love to have some more senators out tomorrow, next week. And that is going to be on Tuesday, November 18th. And so we're going to volunteer from 2 to 3. And then our meeting will begin at 3 p.m. in the back of the community shop. I have a quick question. Yeah. If you buy something off of the QR codes, does it like come to us and then we bring it to the wrapping, or does it ship to you, or? So the way it's set up, it's actually going to go to, it's directly linked to Amazon. So it's, you buy it through your Amazon account and then you can have it shipped to you and then bring it.
And if you want to buy it somewhere else, you can mark that as purchased. And if you want to go to Walmart and buy it yourself, you can buy it, just mark it as purchased on that.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Bye all.
Well, that might have changed my educational piece for today. Good afternoon, everyone. So, of course, we're reviewing bylaws and attendance policies for clarity and transparency. And so as a result of our meeting, we met with Angela and Lena. And so we have proposed a standardized attendance tracking form that hopefully will be used soon to update the operational procedure to improve absence reporting. In order to sometimes be able to really look at bylaws, you need data. And so we're hoping that this may be able to help inform the data moving forward about absences and what type of absences people may have. And then thank you to the co-chairs that did complete our form. If you haven't, no worries, we'll send you a reminder. But if you can complete it before our meeting on Thursday, that is an agenda item for us. And a good point of clarification. So in that, we are asking you to look at your descriptions of your committee. And if you do have an idea to change your committee description, that does need to run by bylaws. There is a procedure for that. So I do encourage everyone to look at that on the website, amendment for bylaws. I won't read it. But what's also important now that we may have a suggestion for an amendment, at every meeting, we get asked about quorum. And so we do have a little educational piece today. So what occurs if quorum is not met during a meeting? Anyone know?
You discussed that you can't vote.
Yes. So this is key, especially if we're going to have a bylaw amendment sent up. So it's very important that we think about quorum, making sure we're here so that we can do the business of the Senate. Our next committee meeting is scheduled for this Thursday at 2 p.m. on Teams. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Next, we have appreciation and recognition. Staff appreciation. I know at their last meeting, I know Senator Shelton had to go a little early. He was here. They are continuing to work through Staff Appreciation Day and ways to continue to recognize. That really gets in high gear January, February, and so there'll be more information on that coming. The date, May 14th. Woo! And last but not least, scholarship and fundraising.
Our big thing right now is the cornhole tournament. We are working on finalizing everything for that. We're meeting with Campus Rec sometime this week, hopefully, to finalize a few logistical items. We have secured, our committee members have secured several prizes, including Apple AirPods, tickets to Riverbank Zoo, and free games of golf at local courses. And we're just adding to those. We haven't advertised the prizes yet, but we will be trying to get the word out about that. So there's good potential for some pretty significant winnings. And remember, all these registrations go back to support staff senate initiatives. So this is also just an opportunity to give and be involved in a fun way. Please encourage your participants to sign up. We're only 10 days out, and we're hoping to get a bunch of teams. Did you have something?
I did. I announced it to the ITC community last week, which has about 86 to 90 of us IT people, faculty, staff. So I plugged it in that meeting last week and sent it in the chat. So
great.
That was a good chunk of people across campus.
And there's an email that went out that had a link to the registration form. As long as the weather's on our side, it should be really fun.
Savannah, can you remind us it's teams of 2, right?
It's teams of 2.
Okay.
You can sign up individually though.
You can sign up individually.
Then you'll be placed with something.
Yes, and if you would like to support Staff Senate but aren't a fan of cornhole, or if you've got some friends who are signing up and want to participate another way, you can donate as a cheerleader to cheer on your favorite teams. And teams that get cheerleaders, whichever teams get the most cheerleaders, will advance automatically to the second round. That will bypass the first round.
And we will just, Michaela, help me remember, send an email to all of you all one more time, just with all that information. So if you have individuals you want to forward that to, you can do so again.
The Alumni Association is sponsoring the event by providing popcorn and drinks. Those are free to us. And we are still gathering cornhole boards. So if you have cornhole boards and they don't have any kind of like beer advertising on there, that you would be willing to lend us, email me. I will pick them up from you and I will bring them back to you. So just let me know if you're willing to donate your cornhole boards for a few days. All right. Any questions? All right. Thanks, guys.
Jalen, you have a question?
I did. If we sponsor a team, can it just go to a random team, or do we have to have a team in mind?
If you put, I don't know how we could do it randomly, but if you just said you wanted to throw in a donation, that's fine. But you could reserve your decision of a team till later if you choose.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And there's the, perfect. And we'll send again more information out to everybody tomorrow, so you will know. We're now on to, before we do go to the order, new business. I do not believe there is any new business. So we'll move on to announcements and go to the order. Anybody else have an announcement that they would like to share?
Hey everyone, the annual MLK commemorative breakfast, which is going to happen on January 16th in the Russell House Ballroom from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's a little early, but it's wonderful. They are now taking RSVPs to attend, and so there is a limit. It fills up fast, but wanted to make sure you guys knew about it, heard about it, and then are able to RSVP on the website. If you all just look it up online, especially staff senators, you can go and would love your representation there at the event, but also to share with your constituents that would love to be a part of this. So again, Friday, January 16th, from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. in the Russell House Ballroom, and parking will be in Bull Street Garage. Hopefully not a problem. But with it being that early, maybe the students then.
If it's Tuesday, Thursday, I don't know, that's questionable.
It's a Friday morning. But please, yourselves RSVP online. It is free breakfast. It is wonderful community. There's a wonderful speaker, and so more information online, but would love to just share that with y'all. And I'll update everything on Teams as well to send the link out.
Awesome, thank you. Any other announcements? Good to the order. All right, hearing none, before we adjourn, I just want to thank you all and just remind you that continue the dialogue, even with our university leaders. Sometimes they don't tell us exactly what we possibly want to hear as the answer, but the fact that they are dialoguing, I think, is a huge step forward. So please continue to do so. And if we on the executive committee can help you with that process, please let us know, because that's why we're here. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn our November meeting. Senator Jalen, thank you so much. And I know it's Jalen, but I was like, what's the last name? Is there a second? Senator Morgan, thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Are you signing up for the corner?
Huh?
Are you signing up for the corner?
I'm a cheerleader. I can't. That whole thing is, I'm not. Sure.
They'll come over for a couple days, but they don't really. They have planned ahead.
Okay, so somebody that got it, we've done it conference. So yeah, yes. Yeah, you do. That's like, you don't fight. Yeah, that's right. Got your email or you may have to look and see.
I feel.